Okay, excellent. Good morning. This is the convening of Massachusetts Gaming Commission, and we're holding this virtually, so I'll do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning, I'm here.
Commissioner Hill, I'm looking for you. There you are. I need to pin these apparently. Before I go on, hi, Katrina.
Good morning.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
And good morning, Commissioner Maynard.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Okay, so call to order this public meeting number 141. It is March 15th. And we have two sets of minutes this morning. So Commissioner Hill.
Yes, before I make my motion, Madam Chair, I just want to point out and I'm pulling it up, so bear with me one second. The February 15th minutes, in the very first approval of the minutes for February 1st, there was a vote that was taken. And at the bottom, it says the motion passed unanimously 4-0 with the meeting adjourned. That should be 5-0. We've already been in contact with legal and it's already been rectified. We just didn't get them to you in time for this meeting to take place, but that has been rectified. And that was an error that we had found after the minutes went out. So I just want to make sure everybody is aware of that before I made my motion, which is now, Madam Chair, I move that the Commission approve the minutes from the February 15th, 2023 and March 1st, 2023 agenda setting meetings that are included in the Commissioner's packet, subject to any necessary corrections for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
Second.
Thank you. Any edit or question? Okay, Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard.
Aye.
And I vote yes. Excellent. Just want to thank legal for its good work on the minutes. It really so critical. I know I've mentioned that before, but I can't overstate it. So thank you. All right, let's start with our notes then for our agenda planning. We do have a meeting this afternoon of one item. Just want to note that for the record. And it's not this afternoon. I think actually it starts right after this meeting, probably around 11:30. Correct, Karen?
Correct.
Yeah. And then our next scheduled meeting is for March 23rd. Have an administrative update, Karen?
Yes, so if we could keep that on the agenda. We haven't heard from Burke in a little bit. So Burke, do you think there would be something for the update from the field from the casinos, or do you want to wait until the following meeting?
No, we can, I think we were talking about an update on table numbers. And
Okay.
I think Commissioner O'Brien wanted a little update on that one pit by the Wynn Sports Bar. So I could do that on the 23rd.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, Karen?
Yeah, I think we may have just at least one new hire to introduce at that meeting, but other than that, I don't have anything at this point.
Okay. We'll have, I think you've noted, and we love this organization of the minute meetings for October 27th. Is that still the case?
That is
Judy?
still the case.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Then we're moving on. I assume no other minutes. We'll move on to regulations, and got a slew of them.
Yes, the list in the packet is accurate for the 23rd.
Any questions, commissioners, on that?
Caitlin, I have one question. What is the posture of all these? So when I draft up the agenda, is it in the first instance, or what should the language be around each agenda item?
Sure, we can absolutely send you sort of the template language, but these are all for final vote.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, if you
but
could
I can
send me
send you-
that, perfect, okay. Okay, thank you. All right,
Well, for instance, I know for sports wagering advertising, that's definitely on its last day. And just for that being noteworthy, Caitlin, for the commissioners, is there anything else that you want to bring our attention to? No?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right. We're all set for that. And we've set March 27th as a possible rollover date. Correct, Caitlin?
That's right. And when we get to it, Carrie and I were talking this morning about maybe just out of an abundance of caution, adding them to the 28th as well. And I know that's sort of a different agenda item for that day, but again, just total abundance of caution if we needed it for anything else.
The 28th, we reserve for an entire day for the assessment of category 2. So I don't think we'll have time for the 28th.
Okay.
Does that impact you in terms of days?
No, we could, again, this is just be, oh, go ahead, sorry.
29th? The 29th,
Yeah,
I think we might have that down for agenda setting, but we could add some time. That's really out of abundance of caution, but we could
Yes.
do that.
That could be helpful just because there are so many regs and the advertising reg is so detailed. It might be helpful to just have even a second rollover date just in case.
Okay, so Trudy, if you're on, I assume she is, if you could put a hold on as much of Wednesday, the 29th, just for potential carryover issues. I love the color, Trudy. I wish I were there today with you. So if you could, I don't know, commissioners, if how much, I think there might be some conflicts. I don't know your schedules well enough, but on the 29th, whatever we can carve out or to save, we could always, if necessary, push agenda setting up earlier. How's it looking?
The 29th. Oops. I think I'm on mute. Oh no.
Nope, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh. Um. The 29th looks pretty good. It looks like there's already a hold for the agenda setting at 10 to 11:30.
Right. So, and then after 11:30.
After
How's it look?
11:30, it looks pretty good from 11:30 till 1 o'clock.
Right. And if there's internal meetings, we could push those around. But if
Exactly. Anything
Okay.
that's on here is definitely internal, so those can be moved. So.
if you could just put a hold throughout as long as possible, then we'll make sure to get these regs done. So thank you. So that will work, Caitlin. But that's
That
a
would be
busy,
great. Thank you.
busy first 3 days for us commissioners. 28th again being, and we'll get to it. All right. So that
Chair, may I jump in on the 28th has been mentioned a couple times.
We haven't been, we're back on the 23rd. Just give me a
Okay.
chance.
Yes.
I was just taking care of the regulations for the 23rd, Loretta, and we've got a series. So
Okay.
if you could just bear with me because I don't want to lose track of the 23rd. So 23rd, we're going to start the slew of regs, continue on the 27th, and we've done some saving of time on the 29th. So now, Sandwich Park Race Course, 4 and 5. Alex. Good
Yes,
morning,
Steve.
Dr. Lightbound.
Good morning. These are the pretty much standard operating procedure items that we do every year. They have also asked for that number 5, the qualifying race change over 4 or 5 years now. So we're ready for those two.
Okay.
They should be fairly quick items.
Right. What we might want to do is take care of your 2 racing, or actually this a third. the Suffolk Downs request on?
Yeah, Suffolk has a request to approve DraftKings Horse
Oh,
as an ADW provider.
so the 3 won't be too long, correct?
Right, that shouldn't be very long either. It's, similar to other ones we've done in the past.
Okay, so we'll start, we'll take care of the racing items at the beginning of that meeting, Karen, I think. Hi, Crystal. Okay. I'm not going to ask, is there anything else on the 23rd?
I had one quick one, if I could.
All right, I'll ask. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Direct. Oh, and Mark is raising his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I had mine up first. We need to get a clarification on the prohibition on Russian participants for MMA fighters, and just on the exact wording. It should be a real quick item, but we've gotten a lot of requests from the operators.
Commissioners, does that sound like a really quick item?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it a request for clarification or a request to reconsider?
No, it's a clarification to exactly whether it's sponsored fighters or Russian citizens that fight with not under the Russian flag per se. So it's a clarification as to what that exactly means, and legal suggests that we bring it before you to get the clarification.
Can we have something in writing that?
Yes, you will.
That out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that will probably be really helpful for us to
Yes.
think about. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Bruce. All right, Mark. We know we have the framework. Is that what
We
you
have the research,
research
the FY
agenda?
24 research agenda.
Right.
And I was thinking about this, that our goal is to have this approved by the end of April. And this is sort of the kickoff discussion of that. So we can, as long as we get this done in March, then we do need to have a discussion about the GPAC meeting.
Yeah. And I'm in touch with the GPAC individual, the chair. And so I'd let him know that we were a little delayed on this piece. So we'll organize the date of the GPAC on this research agenda. And Karen, you and I both knew that we had to, Mark was kind enough to roll it over the other day. So I'm teasing him about, oh no, Mark. We have to have, I almost feel like we should have a short meeting to accommodate it, which that could be a solution too, commissioners. But otherwise, we're pretty much booked for the 23rd and then 27th.
Yeah, and I have a couple more potential items for the 23rd, Madam Chair, if we could. Sorry. So
Caitlin, I'm trying, see?
Yeah. Okay. But we may be able to put these off. So
or we might need to do another short, another meeting, but we can think about that, okay?
Yeah, it does it would be helpful to try and limit the number of meetings, but let me go through these and see what everyone thinks. So number one is the points bet withdrawal. So we did confer with the legal department about whether there needs to be any official action by the commission on their withdrawal. We did get the notice. We have been in touch with them. They have submitted something in writing for the commission's consideration. If the 23rd is booked, we could bump that to another meeting. I don't think there's any urgency since the commission has already been notified of that, and there's no issue with respect to the public. So leave it to your discretion whether you want to do that on the 23rd. We could bump that to the April 6th meeting as well. So that may be the best solution. I'll just defer to how you want to handle it.
Okay, yep. All righty.
Okay. The other issue is better. I don't know, Bruce, if you heard back from them about a potential date yet.
Not yet. I hope to hear today. I'm going to reach out and call them.
So they had indicated maybe, 2 or 3 week postponement of their launch. So if that is the case, they may be looking to launch as early as, I think the 24th would have been 2 weeks. So the outstanding matters are the House rules approval and the op certificate for better. So what we could do is just put that to the side and see what we hear back from them. But hypothetically, if they wanted to launch on the 24th, we would need to do the House rules and the op certificate on the 23rd.
For what it's worth, Karen, I saw something, I don't know if it was social media or where I saw it, but it seemed as though Better was saying they were rolling out beginning of April.
Okay, so if that's the case, we just need to make sure we have that on the radar screen and we're not caught off guard that we need to put that on summit kind of agenda.
It sounds like, commissioners, we may just need to find another day for some more business. That's okay. We can figure it out. I may, Trudy, as you're looking right now at our schedule over through the end of March, next week and through the end of March, if there's any coupled hour period to take care of some of this work, including Mark's research agenda, that might be helpful. Okay.
Madam Chair, I also wanted to point from my notes that we had initially agreed to a 9 a.m. start on the 23rd, but it's showing up as 10 on the.
Yeah.
So I just bought us an
I have
extra
a-
elevator.
I have a
That's what
hard stop. That's why we were moving it early, because I actually have a hard stop at about 2:30, 2:45 on that date.
I
That's
also
on
have a hard stop.
right. I'm sorry. And maybe that just didn't get moved, and I'm sorry for not noting it. Trudy, I think we're starting then on
9 a.m.
which day though?
The
23rd.
The 23rd. Oh yeah, we've got it down as 9 a.m. Maybe it's just not showing as the calendar. Trudy, can you just back that up an hour, please? This is evidence of when promotions happen, there's just a few little things that takes at least 2 people for Trudy. Trudy, you are on mute. Oh, good. So 9 a.m. on the 23rd, if you could back that up, and then it's a hard stop at what time? 2:30?
I'm about 2:45. I don't know what Jordan's is.
I may have to check onto the phone a little earlier, but I'll make
Okay,
whatever.
so yeah, looks like the hard stop's at 2:30.
I might take away my promise to Alex to start and put you near the end, because Commissioner Maynard may want to deal with maybe easier for him to deal with the regs in front of a computer than by phone for racing.
Yes,
But you're racing, it is time sensitive, correct, Alex?
yeah, correct. And we had discussed at the last agenda setting that we might put the racing items at the end so that you all could do the regs early.
Thank you.
And I did notify the 2 tracks involved that racing was probably going to be at the end of the day. So they're prepared for that. I wasn't going to bring it up because the day is so full.
Bring it up. I didn't mean to intimidate everyone. Bring it up, everyone. Bring it up. We'll figure it out.
Steve O'Toole is ready to put in his request for reimbursement of the 2 promo handicapping contests that they had last year. And that's also a pretty quick item. Chad would present that one and he's got all the backup documents and everything already. So if we are going to push racing to the end of the meeting, if it would be possible to add that on.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't push it past the time that the 2 commissioners have to leave, but I'm just trying to accommodate Commissioner Maynard if he's in mobile mode a little bit.
I could also, I don't want to upset the apple cart, but I could also start at 8:30 if that helped, or 8 or whatever time anybody wants to start.
I'm always happy to do early. The But
Yeah,
I'm
and
the,
some
I'm
of
the
these,
easy
if there's a
one.
quorum without me, obviously, the racing stuff needs to be dealt with. So if I need to disappear and you're still going, obviously. That's okay.
Same on my end.
Okay.
Commissioner Hill, I see you're speaking. Or are you talking to someone else?
I am actually working on an issue as you guys are talking this out, so I was talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry. I thought you were
And I want you to know it is
work related.
Mass Gaming Commission related.
Alex, could you please shoot me over the language for that reimbursement for the promos for the
Sure.
agenda? Awesome,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, now back to Karen, because she has, I know, more on
Yeah.
her list.
Yeah, so there's that. And then Crystal and I have been chatting, and she's looped Bruce and legal into this. There are some requests for clarification with respect to advertising and marketing that, looking through it, it seems to make sense. We may want to have commission input on these. It is the kind of, these are, for example, disclaimer language where they have, one of these banners at a sporting event, or problem gaming language. So as we're trying to figure out the best way to do this. As we're talking, I'm realizing you have the advertising reg in this list of regs. So I'm wondering if it's appropriate to, as we're going through the reg at the agendas at the public meeting, we can bring up some of these questions and get clarification. Crystal does have a memo and pictures and, has done a nice job on this. I could send that to the commissioners so that when we get to the reg, we may just add an agenda item and also some points of clarification. It may just help in the, for the future.
Karen, I'm gonna jump in because I can see Caitlin getting terribly uncomfortable because this is the final day for advertising, and anything that we kind of do on the fly, we've learned is not probably really helpful with respect to advertising and media. We've had to go back and make a couple of corrections. So when you say we'll address it the day of the reg, I'm wondering, is that something, I think it would take many steps before the 23rd for you to work with legal, make sure to work with A&K, get proposed language and see if that really still works for Caitlin and team. I just don't know how involved the request is, Karen, because it is the final day for the advertising reg. And I don't want
to. And Crystal, jump in if you have any thoughts, but the questions are more not, I don't anticipate it's necessarily changing the reg, but under the reg, how does, there's things about size and font spec, there's if the logo is used, what else do they have to have for language? There was another question, we wanted to confirm we can utilize the term free bet in conjunction with a promotion that awards the offer upon registration where there is no deposit or wages required. This is similar to the pre-launch campaign the company offered in Ohio. Now
the font issue is actually one that, because we did it too fast, it exploded and we had to fix. So it's not necessarily as simple as we might have figured. So what do you recommend, Karen and Caitlin? And commissioners chime in because maybe I'm anticipating unfairly complexities.
I would actually want to see Crystal's memo because I feel like that would inform the timing of it. I mean, right now it's all, I don't know exactly what the parameters of the request.
I do think a couple are probably going to be very simple clarifications, and I've included some of the guidance we've given or how we've reacted based on the regs. But, the one that Karen is mentioning that is probably already under Caitlin's consideration is that fonts and specs. The others are just more clarifications based on how they're reading it and ensuring our interpretation is in line with yours.
I would say I would not be inclined to sort of mix going through reg comments and evaluating the reg for final vote with sort of clarification questions. I think that could just lead to some confusion. But what I'd be happy to do, like we did previously, is, work with Karen and Crystal. And last time this sort of issue came up and there were questions on sort of reg interpretation, we put that document together for the commission that had what the questions were and what, the questions, the proposed interpretation, and then the commission could evaluate that and do it separately.
So Caitlin, could we do the regs on the 23rd? And then I know we have the meeting on the hold on the 27th. Would we have a separate agenda item after that, or what makes sense? Because I do recognize we have operators asking questions and we're saying we don't know the answer.
I would say, I think that the 20th, if you put it as a separate agenda item on the 27th, that could work if we get through the advertising reg. I'm also thinking in my mind, to the extent the advertising reg is going to change at all, that could change the answers too. So,
I think
it's
some
all
of
kind of
these,
happening at the same time.
sorry, Caitlin.
No.
I was going to say, I'm certainly amenable to whatever you want, but the 27th is kind of a long time when we're talking about marketing that's going out right now. So some of these clarifications I think I'm just looking for a way to make sure they're in line with what we're talking about and not necessarily adjusting the reg. So I'll let Karen handle that, but it just seemed like as we're pushing these off, they've been asking these for weeks already and we're waiting and waiting.
So what I'm hearing is not what I first heard from Karen was, it sounded as though it would be changed to the regulatory framework, which as I said, too quick could cause problems, right? But what I'm hearing now is that our operators are looking for clarification and not necessarily change. Too bad we didn't add that to today's agenda.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
That would be my delay, given I was out the last couple of days.
So we don't have another meeting scheduled until the 23rd. 23rd is Thursday. We've got a commitment to regulations. How do you want to handle clarifications to operators, Karen? I hear that legal says that we need our input. So the regulation isn't clear?
So I'm not sure that I'm speaking for myself. I don't know what the particular issues are outside of what I've just heard. So maybe we can knock some things off the list that are more straightforward. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else from legal knows what's going on with the advertising.
Because I'm wondering if some of this is preference, like the request of, well, it says X and Y, but if I do X, is it okay if I don't do Y? If it's stuff like that, it's more sort of a preference request as opposed to a confusion request. So I'd love to see what the actual memo says.
Well, and I'd love to have the team address as many of these operational issues as possible, unless there really is lack of clarity in our regulation. So I think sharing the memo is fine, but to the extent that the team, and maybe it means you all need to sit down together, and think about what they're asking for and find out if you really need clarification. Our intentions, I think, are pretty clear. We've spent an awful lot of time on advertising. What do you think, commissioners? Anything you want to add? No?
No, I would agree with that.
So that actually is very helpful, because that's sort of also kind of the question, if we have a sense this is the direction of the commission, can we go forward and give this guidance? We can inform the commission, we can send out this memo and inform the commission, this is where we're going. And then if any commissioner is saying, hey, I'd like, we could bring up another agenda setting, like to revisit that. That may be the most efficient way to go forward.
Commissioners, also, without knowing anything about what Karen mentioned with respect to free bets, I don't know about that, but I think all of us agree that if it says free, it better be free.
Yeah.
Right? Free of risk, free.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so Madam Chair, why don't we do this? I can circle back with Crystal and the legal department, and probably Bruce and his team, come up with, okay, are there solid interpretations that we can go forward with? And if there's something that's really outstanding, we'll bring it back in front of the commission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Commissioners, anything you want to add? I see. Eileen,
We'll send the memo so you know what's going on.
Yeah, that would be great. Eileen, anything that you wanted to add?
It was actually a totally different issue
Oh,
that I wanted
let's
to
just-
remember that I'd forgotten
Let's
to
just
raise.
see if the other commissioners have anything to
Yeah.
add on the advertising. Are you all set?
I'm all set.
Thank you. Okay, all set, Brad and Jordan already. Thanks. Great. Thanks. Good work.
All right, that's helpful. Okay,
Good work. Good work.
that's all that I had at this point, Madam Chair, for the 20th.
And then the research agenda, which I know
Yeah.
was on your list too.
Yeah.
So I've gotten the outstanding items that we either would add to the 23rd, but it would probably be, it might be tricky, would be the points bet, the better. You're going to find out about their timing and the research agenda. And then we have, quite a few racing items. So if you will allow me, folks, because it's a shorter day, is there, we may look for also another date to maybe address some of these items. And was somebody could just jump in?
I
was just going to say that you forgot Bruce's item.
Oh,
Clarification on.
yeah, I definitely got him on for the 23rd.
Yeah.
I thought that was one that was definitely, I've got that definitely on.
I wanted to circle back to the ad that was, I think, disseminated the better online where, play on their free and then they convert to value after they launch that ad. I wanted to know if that was going to be coming in front of us sooner rather than later.
I don't know about this item.
This is the one that I had asked if they could forward off to the other commissioners at the last meeting because it had been brought to my attention and sent to IB and sports wagering team.
I think I know what you mean. I'm not sure. I need to understand why it would come before us, Eileen.
It's a question I had about advertising in terms, there were a couple of different aspects to it. It changed over time. I think Crystal got a screenshot of it and sort of the middle iteration that I've seen. The premise of it is getting people to do KYC, get on and play for free right now. And then their winnings would be converted to value after. And whether that was something that basically ran afoul of them not having their op certificate and their house rules approved yet. And some of the language about the triggering event being the go live date, which is a little vague right now, and whether there was any sort of problem with that.
I think we're still looking at that, Eileen, at this point, and we come before you when we're all done looking at it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you might be able, because there's still confusion amongst the five of us, whether you could even give a high profile view of what I just expressed.
Yeah, not at this time.
No, I mean for the next meeting, or if we're doing something on the 22nd, queue it up for the 22nd, if we're doing a day early to get everything in.
We'll do our best to get it all in front of you by then. All right.
If I may, I would just add that we're presently refining the protocol to make sure that all of those types of issues get uniformly reviewed and brought to the commission as appropriate. We're going to talk about one momentarily at our next meeting. So I think it's helpful for them all at the moment to go to Bruce, and he will review them with the team, and then we'll make sure the commission is apprised and makes all decisions that are necessary as we move forward. But it's still a bit of a work in progress, but that's I think that would be a helpful approach at this point.
Okay. So again, Nikisha, thank you for the Bruce's reminder, but I think the Russian question about the catalog, we'll definitely put that on, and the racing items we'll have on for the 23rd. I want to give the research agenda proper due and Mark's team the time it needs to go through that really important exercise that we need to do annually. And then we've got the points and better, house rules and certificate of operations. Is there, how's Bally's? Are they going to be about at the same time? Karen, could we do both at the same time, Karen?
I thought they were a little later, Bruce, but we could possibly do it at the same time. I think we'll probably be ready, right, Bruce?
Just a question.
Better's house rules are a lot shorter, so we'll be able to do them at the same time. Yes.
What about Bally's?
Pardon me?
What about Bally's?
Oh, Bally's. I don't. Sterl, do you have Bally's yet? All in? No.
Bally's hasn't sent us anything.
They're not launching until sometime after May,
Yeah.
is what I have in my notes.
Yeah.
We just do better first.
Well, and Better did publicly say, I noted, I think it was first week of April.
Yeah.
And nothing on from Fanatics.
No.
Okay, just trying to double up. All right, so Mark, can you stay tuned a bit and let me see if we can find a date for you? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Madam Chair, just that as long as we can get it in March would be great.
Oh
We
yeah,
have
I'm
a
hearing
gaming-
you, yeah.
Okay.
It would
With
definitely be a
GPAC and the
March
Gaming
date.
Research Advisory Committee at the middle of April before it comes back to the commission for a final at the end of April.
Right. So I'm planning, looking at both sets of dates. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're moving to March 27th. We'd roll over the regs and you'll make sure to prioritize any that are going to be on their final date for the 23rd at the top of the 23rd meeting. And then adding to the racing items, Steve O'Toole's request. Okay. On the promo. All right, so 27th, the 28th. Good morning, Director Lilios.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning. Yeah, I was a little over eager
Okay.
to discuss the 28th. So
it was very strategic, Loretta. It's strategic.
A reminder that as part of the IEB's review for preliminary suitability of this applicant, we are reviewing their agreement with Caesars. We've talked before that this category 2 applicant, it's a different animal than our category 1 applicants who were already licensed by us and operating a gaming establishments. So this review of the agreement is an important part of the preliminary suitability review. We are preparing a memo now highlighting various provisions of that agreement. That agreement itself is available for you. It's in your saved documents with the application. So if you wanted to look at it, it's been there, but we will be distilling the terms in a memo for you, and that we envisioned as being a topic that you would want to tackle at the beginning of the meeting. The suggestion would be that you get into that at the early part of the meeting on the 28th.
Yeah, I've got to think about that because of the way we've done our assessments of the applications. They usually start with a presentation, commissioners. I just wonder if the contract can just be integrated into the discussion. Does it need to be a separate part? I know that's what you're envisioning, but what do you think, commissioners and Loretta?
I agree. I don't see it as a separate item, but I think there are terms of it that may be different enough from what you've seen that you would want to be able to give it full attention. certainly hearing from the applicant first on their presentation, that I don't have a strong
Yeah,
feeling about that.
Maybe we will have them set the stage with their presentation and their demonstration, and then that's going to organically introduce the arrangement that they have with Caesars as their operating vendor. And then the particulars we could ask about and perhaps have, when we have our experts, right, weigh in. RSM, we need to make sure RSM is available. I haven't arranged for that, Karen, but RSM.
They know about it, Chair. Yeah.
Okay, good. And GLI and then IEB. Commissioners, maybe we have IEB walk us through the contract at that time so that we understand the elements, and we've already gotten kind of that high level introduction from the applicant themselves to explain it, and then go delve into the details after we've gotten that high level. What do you think about that format? It is a different element, and I appreciate Loretta wanting to make sure that the contract is clear to us. And then go into your IEB report after that. Looking for input, guys.
Makes sense to me. If Loretta's okay with it, I don't see why we can't just incorporate the discussion of the agreement into the license application discussion. I'm okay with that.
Okay, Commissioner O'Brien, what do you think?
I would defer to Loretta and legal. I mean, they've seen the contract. So unless they say this is something that needs to be dealt with in advance of the application review, it sounds fine unless.
Oh,
Loretta,
I guess maybe I wasn't hearing you. That are you saying, because I thought you were still staying on the 28th, which really is the same day, right? Do you want it to be heard earlier on a different date, Loretta? Or do you like how
originally we had talked about having a date to discuss the agreement as sort of a threshold review for the commission to understand what the arrangement is.
I'm comfortable having it be part of their application, because honestly, if we have a separate, I guess it's just to train us. Is that what it is? It's not to react, right?
Well, I think it's the setup is so different from the others that we've seen that so much of the on-the-ground responsibility will be on Caesars compared to the other brick and mortars.
I understand.
Yeah, and just to distill kind of, I think, and Loretta, please jump in if I'm off on this. The ultimate question will be how Caesars is treated. Are they treated as a vendor or are they treated as a qualifier?
I think
at the moment,
you've already made that determination.
We decided in discussions with the chair as over in her oversight capacity that we would go with the highest level of review for Caesars, the qualifier level rather than the vendor level, which also frees us up to treat Caesars vendors the way we treat other operator vendors. So we are giving the higher level peel back into the Caesars group of qualifiers.
And Loretta, you really made that determination based on the issue of control, correct?
I'm sorry, based on what?
You made an issue of control because just as
absolutely.
Yeah. So does that help at all, or do we need to go through the contract with the terms of the contract with Loretta?
I think you're going to want to see the terms of the contract. I think they're different enough from what you've seen with the other operators that you're going to want to see them and feel comfortable with the terms of the contract.
Okay, so now the question is, can we do it in the midst of the assessment? Commissioner Maynard?
I think I'm very comfortable just doing it as a part A, part B of the same day, but actually making a part of the same day and same conversation. But I'm happy to make it a part A, part B.
Do you mean at start in the morning with Loretta first and then go into the presentation second?
That would work with me. if it works
Okay.
for anybody else.
So we need to push back at the presentation. Maybe we start earlier at 9 with IEB going through the contract. Commissioner Skinner, what do you think about that? Commissioner Hill, what do you think about that?
I'm okay with that.
I'm good with it as long as Loretta's good with it.
I think Loretta's saying she's good with it.
That makes sense.
Commissioner O'Brien, you good with that?
The
Or do
9
you-
o'clock start might be a little tricky for me that day. But I guess I could start on the phone if Loretta's gonna hop on at 9.
How's it look for everybody else, Trudy? I'm worried that we will, how's everybody's full day? Maybe I should ask it that way.
For the 28th?
Yeah, does anybody have a end of the day stop?
So we have a family member that we have to take care of post-surgery. So it's unclear to me whether I'm gonna have stuff in the afternoon. So I just may need to go on the phone at some point later in the afternoon that day. So right now the hold is 9:30 to 4, which I can make work. Anything around that, I'd probably be on the phone for anything beyond those
But
times.
through 4, you're okay, Commissioner O'Brien?
Yeah, I should be okay through 4. Yes.
Okay. All righty.
And I'm okay as well on that date.
Okay.
Works for me.
That works for me. I have a hard stop, however, at 5 o'clock.
Well, we've got one that trumps you. We've got a 4. So I want to definitely help Commissioner O'Brien on that. Trudy, do we have let's look for another day to try to get this contract reviewed in advance of the 28th. We'll reserve an hour and a half if we can find time, and commissioners will just schedule a separate public meeting on it.
So
that
Chair,
way-
I apologize. I thought when we were talking about a Part A and Part B, we were talking about starting the Part A on the 28th.
Right. My concern is I'm looking for an alternative because I don't want to run out of time for the actual assessment.
Understood. I'm just not sure that our team can have that memo prepared. We've been working with the date of the 28th to have the memo prepared. We do, have a draft of it, but it's only an initial draft.
I'm sorry, are we not talking about the 28th?
Well,
I thought we were talking about
Yes,
the 28th.
what I was trying to do, Commissioner Skinner, was I was just trying to find another day in advance of the 28th so that we would have a little bit more flexibility and not feel cramped on the 28th. I'm now hearing from Director Lilios that she can't do anything else but the 28th. So we're going to do, Commissioner O'Brien, how's a 9:30 start? If we could even get a half an hour, is that hard for you too?
No, so right now it's 9:30, which is fine.
Okay,
The
so we're doing
9,
that.
I could start at 9. I'd just be on the phone for that.
Let's do
It's the afternoon, it's-
9:30. We'll catch that half an hour wherever we can, and we'll go to 4. All right, Commissioner Skinner, how are you going to help?
Here, I'm not sure what is happening here.
Okay, I'll make it
let
very
me
clear. The
let me finish
28th is a
this.
9:30 to 4. On the 28th, Director Lilios will start with a review of Part A. Thank you, Commissioner Maynard, with the review of the contract. After she's complete, we are going to launch right into the assessment of the application, the Category 2 application from Reno. And they'll start with their presentation. We'll have the background. I don't think we can change the terms of the contract. I think Director Lilios just feels it would be helpful for us to go through the contract. And then we'll go right into 4 o'clock. We don't have to worry about the 5 o'clock hard stop because I'm hearing Commissioner O'Brien that she really needs to finish up by 4 that day. Should we need another time, we'll have to find more days. Is that helpful, Commissioner Skinner?
It is helpful. We're talking about the 28th, not the 27th.
The 27th is a day for the regs that we have held.
I understand that,
continue to do.
but when we went through the scheduling earlier, I assumed we were talking about the 28th, as others did. So, Commissioner O'Brien, you have a hard stop at
4 on the 28th.
So I would have to go on the phone probably after 4 o'clock.
Okay. So I have a hard stop if you are going to participate by phone on the 28th. I have a hard stop at 5.
We've noted it, but we're not going to, I think I'd like to not have her have to go on the phone unnecessarily because she has a medical issue. So I would like to, unless Commissioner O'Brien says, you know what, that's taken care of, then we won't finish at 4, and I acknowledge that you have a 5 hard stop.
Yeah.
We will never go beyond 5 o'clock. Ever. Okay.
We have in the past, which is why I need to
No,
know.
no, for you, I won't go past 5 o'clock for you because I noted it, that we all know that you have a 5 o'clock hard stop. We've got it.
Great. That's why I shared it, Chair.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's continue. We've got the 28th done for Raynham. We have April 6th next. Karen.
I'm all set.
And Trudy,
So-
I know that you're making notes on all of the scheduling. Thank you very much. Anything in between the 28th and the 6th, Karen, that you and I've missed?
No, no.
Okay, so on April 6th, right now we have an administrative review, we've got minute meetings, we have regulations, but no particular ones. Caitlin, do you think we'll have any on that day?
We are not anticipating any regulations on April 6th.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have, we'll have that, I know that we were waiting for Mr. Umbrello. Is he going to be prepared for April 6th? Because we would like to attend to that if that works for him.
Yes.
Dr. Lyko?
Yeah, he'll be ready, and I'm just need to check with Todd and see if that still works for the legal department.
Yes, I think we should plan on moving forward that day.
Okay. So we'll keep it on for the 6th unless we hear otherwise from Mr. Umbrello. And then we have our review of the executive director, and that means you have a piece of work for us, Karen. Sorry to impose that on you. How are you doing on that?
That's fine. So I did reach out to Trixie and she sent me the form. I'll have that done. Is there a due date the commissioner would like to give me for that? I'll have it done by that date.
It will take us a little bit of time. Go ahead, Commissioner Skinner.
I'm not available on the 6th, so I'm prepared to have that meeting proceed without me if you have a quorum. However, I would like that particular item to be postponed.
Yeah, so I was supposed to be not available at all. Now I have something, I can join the meeting probably a little bit late. But I was actually just wondering if that was enough time to give it the consideration it was due, given what we're facing on the 28th for review and going in. I just don't want to give short shrift to Karen's. And now I'm hearing Commissioner Skinner's request too. So I'm wondering if we should bump that out a week.
Okay, we'll put it on for April 11th. Does that work for everyone?
That works for me.
Thank
That's
you.
probably, yeah.
Well, April 11th is the REIT meeting. I don't know if you wanted.
Oh, that's actually, it should be noted as an adjudicatory matter.
Right.
That is not, that, we just didn't happen to change that, Karen, sorry. I think we missed that. So that's not a good date. So it would be April 6th, it's the April 13th, 1 week later.
Yep. Karen, in answer to your question, in terms of the due date, yep, what worked for you? And what is today?
Karen, I think that's going to work for you fine, right? Because you're going to do the review and then submit it to us for the executive. I think Commissioner Skinner's concerned that you won't be ready for the annual review.
I'm not concerned. I'm trying to assist her with an answer to her question. She's looking for a date from us as to when her portion would be due.
So
That's 4 weeks away. Why don't I get it done by the 29th, and that gives me 2 weeks and you all 2 weeks.
that's my memory. We had about that last year, because then we can get it back at least a week prior, so that if Karen wants to have one-on-ones with any of us, she has the opportunity to do that before we discuss publicly.
That was the process last time. So
Right.
the commissioners would submit Karen would submit her self-assessment to me. Then I would distribute it to the commissioners. You'll have a chance to review it, and then you will respond back to me, and then set up the one-on-ones.
Karen, does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Loretta, did we miss something that needs to come up earlier on the 23rd?
That's right, Chair. Thank you. We do have to update the commission on a civil administrative penalty matter. I'd be looking to put that on the calendar, on the agenda for 10, 15 minutes.
Yep. Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Loretta on that, or are we all set to move on? Okay. April, we're taking item April 6th off. I'm wondering if we should, that's too late for the research agenda. We need to add another date, Karen. We've got to find another meeting date. I know that you don't really like the idea of another meeting, but we're going to have to in order to get some of that stuff done. So Trudy, I'm going to ask that you find some time for us before the 31st, and we'll need it for the agenda setting. I'm wondering right now, I'm going to ask about what other matters need to be ready for April 6th, because it would be very light otherwise. Maybe we reclaim April 6th and get a March date. So Trudy, well, we continue. If you could just see if there's any time you could find.
Before March 31st.
Yeah, thank you. So, and I'm just going to keep on going while Trudy looks at our schedule. April 11th, as we mentioned, is really not a public meeting. It will be a public meeting, publicly held adjudicatory hearing. That we have no problem putting that on our agenda, setting notes, but we'll just make sure to always mark it as adjudicatory so everyone understands. And I'm assuming Director Lilios and Todd, you're all set for that, for the 11th.
Yes, I believe so. We'll get a hearing notice to the commissioners as soon as we can, so you can take a look at that.
Madam Chair, I was looking at my calendar for an open date, and March 30th seems to be.
That's what I wondered. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it very, very much. Very
I don't know
helpful.
how that is for everybody else.
I'm open on the 30th.
Very helpful, Brad. Thank you. Judy, how's that look?
22nd.
No, the
March 22nd.
The 30th. Sorry.
Oh, the 30th looks good.
Let's put a hold on whatever time we can get for the 30th and take care of. I want to give Director Van der Linden proper time, and then we've got these other matters.
For my sake, it's open pretty much all day.
Commissioners, how's that look for you? Do you have any conflicts?
I'm good.
Excellent. So Trudy, just book it, and then we can carve it out, hopefully make it a shorter meeting ultimately, but let's right now reserve that time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay. April 13th. Oh, no, we'll go back to April 16th. Do you have any items that need to be heard on April 6th? And Dr. Lightbound, when is the date that we have to put in our calendars for opening day?
April 10th.
Yeah, that's right.
Monday, April 10th, 4 o'clock post time for opening day of racing at Plain Ridge.
Yeah, thank you. Trudy, you can note that too if you need. If you could maybe send that information to Trudy, that would be really helpful. Alex,
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. commissioners like to go to that, Trudy, and team members too. So besides our update, the possible, the minutes, I don't know, Judy, if she has the date now, that's okay. We don't think we'll have regs, the escrow letter possibly. Otherwise, we wouldn't have items unless the team has something. Okay, we'll keep it on our calendars in case I know that Commissioner Skinner is not available that day. Okay, April 11th. The REIT, we'll make sure everybody gets all the information necessary on that. And then April 13th. We have right now, the only additional item we have besides Karen's evaluation would be the racing application reg review. I don't know how you are in terms of that. That's with respect to that one element that Commissioner O'Brien's brought up. Oh, there we go. Director Vanderlyn, will we be ready for that racing, you think? We're going to try to be, Commissioner O'Brien, for the 13th?
Our plan is to be ready for the 13th for that item.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Mark.
Yes. So I think that we will be prepared to add the public safety study, the Encore Boston Harbor Public Safety Report. We're tentatively planning a meeting with Everett and surrounding community police chiefs and their staff for the first week of April to share the report with them. So this seems like it would be good timing.
Okay. And you're okay with that, Commissioner O'Brien? You're in coordination with her? Okay, excellent. Good.
Commissioner O'Brien, we haven't set the exact date. That first week of April, I'm in communication with Chief Mazie staff, but we'll certainly make sure that we're coordinate that with your calendar.
Okay. Team, we'll start going through under review. Was there any item before we go to under review for April 13th? Joe, I've been waiting to hear from you all day. I said to Karen, we haven't heard about the community mitigation calendar. And I know you've got Encore Boston Harbor in your mind too.
Yeah, nothing for the 13th though, at this point.
Okay. So I'll turn to you next then, and then we'll go through under review. Do you have anything that?
Yeah, I just have under review items at this point.
Okay. So the category 2 sports wagering applicate review, we're going to take number 24 off because that's now on our calendar. 25 Encore Broadway expansion.
So I sent you all a memo yesterday on sort of the next steps that we need to go through. And I think we've talked about this at some length about doing a public hearing and then a public meeting. But what I am hoping to do is set up some 2x2 meetings with the commissioners to get some input on what we want that public meeting to look like and schedule and so on. I'm thinking a public hearing maybe sometime in the first couple of weeks in April, and then a public meeting towards the end of the month would probably work. I know there's still an awful lot going on with regulations and so on, and we do have some time to deal with this. So, but I think we probably want to have the public hearing as a separate and distinct meeting, because we want to give people a time certain that they can come in and give their opinions and so on. And I think that's the way we did it previously. So I guess I'll check with Trudy and see what a schedule looks like. And we need to then discuss, who we want to invite to this and all. There's a whole bunch of, logistics that we need to deal with, but I think that's where we are at this point.
Can you work with Trudy to find a good date that will work for stakeholders and the commissioners for the public hearing, please? Commissioners, do you agree with that approach? Okay, I'm seeing no no's.
Madam Chair, just clarification, would the hearing be out there in Everett?
We hadn't really discussed that. I mean, I think that the thought was that we would do it virtually like we did the last one, a year ago when we looked at the project. We certainly could do it in person if we wanted to. I think it's probably more convenient for a lot of the surrounding communities and folks to actually do it virtually than to come over to Everett. But, commissioner's choice on how you want to do that.
I think this is an important issue, and I think it should be in person at the city hall or something like that, but that's just one person's opinion.
Well, Commissioner Hill, I think I'm hearing you because, of course, we did get some input from some of the neighbors that they didn't feel heard.
Yeah.
So is that what you've got on your mind,
It is.
Commissioner O'Brien?
So the last time we were going to do this, I believe you and Commissioner Hill were going to be live and in person out in Western Mass. Was it Palmer, Crystal? And then there was also a remote option. So my only concern would be people that are so used to remote expecting to have that option as well. Is there a way to do both, or do we do two separate meetings, one in person and another for people that come in remote?
Can you tell me about Palmer? I don't
Do you
know.
remember, was it
Yeah.
Sturbridge or Palmer, Crystal? Was it?
You're correct. It was out in,
It didn't end up happening, but
It
yes,
didn't
Thank
we
you.
were preparing for it.
But they were all, yeah, it was all set up and then it ended up not needing to happen.
the town meeting didn't get the 2/3 vote it needed, so.
Right, that's what it was for. But we did have of course, the live one in Hardwick, and that was well attended.
Yes.
So we've got that model in mind.
I think what I would recommend is you could reach out to the city of Everett, because I think they do their meetings live, but I think it is also virtual. So they may have something already set up for us.
And I would assume that if we wanted to do something in person, that it would probably be a night meeting.
That's what we did in Hardwick. It was an evening meeting.
Because if we have just, interested citizens, trying to pull them out during the middle of the day doesn't seem like a reasonable type of thing to do.
And Joe, that's what I think probably, I don't want to speak for you, former Representative Hill, but I think that's what you have in mind, is that the community members who may not be able to get to a Zoom meeting in the middle of the day might want a live meeting. Is that what you're thinking, Brad?
Yeah, and I think when we were in Hardwick, didn't we start like at 5 o'clock or 4:30?
Was it that? I can't remember, to tell you the truth. It feels like it might have been.
And it went for about 3 hours or more.
That part I remember. I don't remember the start date, the start time.
Yeah, I think we'd want to book at least sort of 2 to 3 hours, I would think.
Yeah. So I hear the value of live. I hear the value of virtual. What do we want to do? Commissioner Hill has made a recommendation. I think, Joe, you would, also appreciate the ease of Zoom. Commissioner O'Brien, Commissioner Maynard, Commissioner Skinner.
Yeah, I would just want there to also be a virtual option. So whether it's distinct and there's a live and then we do some, short where somebody who couldn't make it to that does virtual. If we can do it all at once, that's great. But I would think we'd want to make the virtual option available for people given the climate.
I feel the same way.
I always loved in person, but that's the beauty of hybrid. And we've made hybrid work, to Commissioner O'Brien's point, multiple times already. And it is 2023. So hybrid's now, I think.
Well, I'll reach out to the mayor's chief of staff and see what arrangements they have there and what we could possibly do. And I'll work with Trudy to find a good time. If we're doing it in the evening, I'm assuming that schedules aren't quite as tight as they are right currently during the daytime, but.
Well, unfortunately for me, because of my kids, that's not always the case. So
Right.
Let me look at the spring calendar and I can, because practices kick in April. So let me get
Sure.
you the dates that are the better ones for me. Obviously, if I can't make it, I can.
Aren't those kids of yours driving yet?
If only, although I will rue the day probably, but
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. And commissioners, just help Trudy and Chief Delaney on that. And so what I think it would not be if a live opportunity is available. I think I'm in agreement with Commissioner Hill to the extent that that can include those individuals who said we don't feel heard by Encore. And so we would want to get that messaging out really clearly. I think that was in connection with some research, Mark. So we can think about how we can reach out to the community and make sure that they are heard. All righty. So we'll go down the list on review and community mitigation on my mind. The ILAB, you still want under review or?
Still under review on that, yeah.
Okay, and then we've got Mark's item number 27 scheduled. 28, patron license and survey report.
Yes, we'll keep that one under review right now. I should be in the next meeting or so able to give you a date.
That'll be very interesting. Okay. A different item, Joe, your VHTA compliance update.
Yeah, so I talked with Commissioner Skinner about this at some length, and I think what we want to do initially is, this goes back to some of the issues that came up back, I think, in late December with MGM Springfield. And I think what we would like to do is get an update from them at their next quarterly report, which we're getting close to the end of the month. So, we'll be having them in sometime during April, and I can give them, a briefing on what it is that we'd like to see. But this does go a bit beyond that. And I have some meetings that are set up with, in fact, all of our licensees to look at not just host community agreements and surrounding community agreements, but also Section 61 findings and a bunch of other things that have been, affected by COVID and other things, and trying to get everybody sort of back on track to where they were pre-pandemic and keep all of that moving forward.
I've also asked if we could take a look, Karen, at sort of compliance in the past. That would be, I know that's on your list to do, but to the extent we can look back at statute, at least the very least, the statutorily required diversity numbers. Kind of an internal audit.
Yeah, we're working on that process as well.
Thanks, all connected. Thank you so much. Another research project, Mark, this one also very interesting. Springfield Community.
I think let's keep it on review. It is in its last round of review. I think I would be comfortable assigning it a date in April, but I want to check with Bonnie and our review team to make sure we're set.
Right. Okay. And the same with the diversity study?
Right. This one, I would be fine if we wanted to remove it until the summer. This, you will see, will be presented as part of our FY24 research agenda.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And the plan has always been that we wouldn't launch this study until after the sports wagering industry had a chance to settle.
Okay. We'll take that out for now then. ADW regs, keep that under review.
Yeah, keep it under review for now, yeah. But I would think end of April or May, we can probably know whether this is a proposed reg issue or more an audit issue.
Bruce Band and team and Dr. Lightbound, I'm interested in this one, number 33. How are we doing on that?
So we have a meeting scheduled later this afternoon, so we'll have more information after that.
So you think that we're going to be able to address that? I'm wondering what meeting we can get it into. Maybe it's on that 30th that we just added. You know, we found time for those other items. I think we should plan on the 30th for points bet, the research agenda better. Any other racing items that might be in loose ends. I don't think Alex has got any, but it is another opportunity.
Something that's similar to this request, but it's not identical. FanDuel has asked to be able to have a direct link from FanDuel Racing, which is already an account wagering provider through Suffolk as a vendor, to have a direct link with the FanDuel Racing within the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yes,
So
that's why, yeah, these interconnectivity here between racing and sports wagering is arising, Karen. I think we need to get some clarity about what our statute allows and doesn't allow. So could we have the item that's on number 33 and the FanDuel item addressed?
Yep, we'll put that on the 30th.
Yeah. Every
Thank
day
you.
we'll do it before we know it. Okay. All right. Independent monitor, I guess we're just keeping that under review, Eileen. It's not time for them to do their report. I don't even know if I really like it under review. I might just take it off. Compliance committee and the succession of officers and positions, that's been something that you've kept on under your watch, Commissioner O'Brien?
Yes, so I'm wondering, we probably have a meeting that last week in April. So I think putting succession of officers and positions in a discussion of compliance committee on for maybe that last date in April would be timely. Because I think the votes come up in May.
I want to make sure everybody understands when there is a committee that is sort of a subcommittee that's organized by us. There are implications in the open meeting law. So probably, Todd, you'll want to be thinking about that in coordination with Eileen.
Right.
Okay.
And it could be that that's tabled ultimately for not, but I do think probably end of April for 36, just because I think we have the elections coming up in May.
So that, okay, so it would be for
the last meeting is in April. I don't know if it's, I don't think we have a date yet, but.
Well, the last, the April 6th.
The 27th, is there one on the 27th?
That would be the last.
Yeah.
Thursday.
That'd be the last date, I think, because the week before school vacation week. So I assumed the 27th would be the date.
And then we probably should put lease update, Karen. It's feeling like we need to do that.
Yep.
Okay. So sometime in April when it works for Marianne and you. And then 38, we just noted that, Karen and I, because yesterday we did have 2 adjudicatory hearings and deliberations. And I think it's probably helpful as we have more and more adjudicatory hearings to include them in our notes, but we'll just make it very clear that they're different from public meetings. Okay, other items for under review, and then any questions for commissioners, from commissioners. Dr. Lightbound.
I'd like to put under review the recognition of the Jockey Guild as the group that represents the jockeys. That will set in motion the ability to pay the $65,000 to them. That's part of the statute if the commission chooses to. And I can send that wording on to Karen and Trudy for the
Thanks, Alex.
Agenda.
Which date for that? I'm sorry.
I'll just send the wording on to them. Right now, I don't have a date. The Jockey Guild has to look over the requirements and make sure that the requirements still fit their needs.
Is there a deadline? That's what
But I just wanted to get it on the agenda, planning.
So,
Yep.
under
Review.
review. But okay, and then you'll just keep track of it already. Anything else for under review or any of the meetings, including April 27th? Carrie, were you? No, I thought I saw her. Anything else? Okay. Commissioners, do you have anything else that you need to add? I just want to acknowledge that last Friday, I want to commend Mark and Mills for your immediate action. We did have an incident at work, and it was because of your good hearts and good minds that we were able to address the emergency in a way that I know Karen and I are terribly thankful. We want to just express our gratitude. You showed phenomenal leadership, and we thank you very, very much. Okay, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Okay, we're going to reconvene. We're scheduled for 11:30. Commissioners, do you need more time? It's 5 minutes. Do you want to just start at 10, or are you okay with starting right at 11:30 sharp? 11:30?
11:30 is fine.
Okay, let's start at 11:30. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard,
Aye.
and I vote yes. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate everyone's efforts. Nice to see you, Katrina.